The petrol prices have crossed the 100 figure. The diesel isn't far behind. Electric vehicles are too thin in the market to talk about. Well, I want to save that rant for another day because today I'm in Goa driving the all-new Renault Kiger. You're watching Times of India. I am Anirban and today I'm going to tell you everything that this new B SUV brings to the table. Like the video, share the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, I'm not going to burn myself in this heat of Goa to tell you how Kiger looks like. A lot of it is out on internet and we have also done the first look video of it. But I really want to touch upon the fact that Kiger is an embodiment of the Renault family overall. We have got one of its siblings, the Triber itself here, from which it derives its own platform, CMFA Plus platform, which gives it the structure, the dimension of under 4 meters in length. Now going with others as well, the Renault Duster and Renault Kwid, there are similarities. For example, from the Kwid, the inspiration is the headlamp cluster. You have that huge chunk of headlamp unit that's placed on the bumper. The LED DRL also looks somewhat like the Kwid. Onto the sides you have flared wheel arches, that butchness that comes from the Duster. So yes, Kiger is in bits and pieces from most of its family members, but it has got its own distinctive looks and those highlights are here. While you may just say the headlamp is similar to the Kwid, but it has got a strong character to itself. Look at the 3-pot cluster that's given up front. Well, you don't get fog lamps here, rather Renault claims it's quite powerful enough. Also the grille is twin slit, not a 3-plate design like the Triber. The wheels on the sides are 16-inch alloy wheels with the top trim, and I would say the alloys look really nice. Moving on to the rear, you have this 3D effect to the tail lamp. Also the tail lamp is full LED, which is standard across the trim lines. One of the big plus points of Kiger is its practicality, and by practicality I mean the kind of storage space you get inside the car. For example, if you take a look at the boot, it is at 405 liters, largest in the segment. The closest it can get competition is from Sonnet, 392 liters. But how Renault managed so much of space here is like beyond my comprehension. But any day, Indian families would love this. Now the area is pretty deep. You can put in a couple of suitcase bags and all. But there's a problem as well. If you take a closer look at the boot, the loading lift is pretty high. So in case you are putting in a heavy luggage, well, a bit of extra effort is needed. Time to go inside the cabin and find out comfort, convenience and how it feels like driving the Kiger. I don't want to break down everything that you get inside, rather two very key features that I could not explore during the first look of Kiger. This 8-inch infotainment screen feels slightly bit more vibrant than the Nissan Magnite. It has got a matte texture to it as well. Now this is not a connected car, but it comes with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay and the navigation features. So overall it's a decent package to have if you are going for the top trims. The other thing I want to focus on is the driver's display. You have 3 drive modes, and with each drive mode, the driver's display changes its colors and form. The interesting of them all is this red shade sport mode, where you have the tacho, speedo, and you also have the power delivery, the power output on the right hand side. Space on offer, I really appreciate. I think it has actually outdone itself when compared against the Triber. I find myself pretty well placed. There's ample amount of room on every direction. Also, the storage space on offer is almost as equivalent as Triber. The Triber was a different class altogether. You get a couple of glove box. What disappoints me a little bit is the extreme hard plastic that has been thrown all around the dashboard. But if you can live with that, I think you would really appreciate the practicality on offer. Time to find out the comfort of the rear seat. the story of the second row. I am 5 foot 8 inches tall. The seat has been placed to my liking, and I would say I find this comfortable to move around. Enough leg room, enough knee room, enough shoulder room, enough headroom. In all direction, I would say it's a comfortable place. But I think this is an area that Renault should have addressed. Literally no thigh support for anybody who is above 5 foot 5 inches tall. I really I'm struggling to find space to be comfortable, especially for my thighs, and I don't think I can really go for a long distance trip in this car, and that will really tire me out. What really strengthens the case though is the amount of space on offer and also the flat floor here. So 3 people can easily fit in. However, a child in the middle would be better suited. You get an armrest with a couple of cup holders. Also, there are 2 adjustable headrests. To increase the boot space, you get a 60-40 foldable rear seat. So I think in terms of comfort, I would rate it decent, Also, the practicality quotient ups the game. Something that big Indian families love to have. Something is standard that you don't get a sunroof across trim lines. No trim in the Kiger family comes with a sunroof. So let's get going and tell you about the drive experience. Now you get 2 engine options, 1 liter turbo petrol and 1 liter naturally aspirated. And too much of noise, na? हाँ, 2 आपको इंजन ऑप्शंस मिल जाएंगे इसके साथ, CVT, AMT एंड 1 5-speed मैनुअल. आपको ये सब ऑप्शंस मिल जाएंगे. नहीं यार, बहुत ज़्यादा नॉइज़ है. उधर क्या करते हैं? लेट्स टेक द सेम बाइट फ्रॉम आउटसाइड. द NVH levels are too interrupting. Now this part of the story we generally do from behind the wheel, but with a Kiger, well, there's too much of noise inside the cabin, and that's largely because of the 3-cylinder engine that comes with the car. The Kiger gets 4 trim lines, 3 transmission options, 2 engines and 1 fuel type. The one we are trying and testing in Goa is the 1 liter turbo petrol engine mated to a 5-speed gearbox. Output is 100 PS and 160 Newton meters. With the CVT variant, you get 152 Newton meters, and the naturally aspirated one is the same one that you get in Triber as well. As soon as you start the engine, you would be able to distinguish this as a 3-cylinder unit and not a 4-cylinder. Those minor vibrations are evident on the clutch pedal from the word go. But what really makes this car enjoyable is its rev-happy engine. You accelerate and the car responds. It has got a good mid-range performance and it revs all the way to 5,500, 6,000 RPM. Now we saw this character with the Triber as well. Things have just got better with a Kiger. Now I think this rev-happy nature with good mid-range and top-end torque really calls for a good city, a good urban commuter in Kiger. Talking about the transmission duties, now I get a 5-speed manual with this car, currently the test unit. Now the transmission duties are not something that I'll really praise about, but they silently do their job. If you're driving spiritedly, there's where the problem arises. Now quick gear shifts really doesn't work well with a Kiger because you tend to feel the gears to be a little choppy. That said, I think most car buyers or most people who would be looking out for Kiger will not really go for a drag race with this car. The steering wheel is way too light and the handling is pretty simple and straightforward. I think those are the modest words I can put to define the Kiger's handling. What really spoils my mood is the fact that it does not weigh up the way it should. You gain speeds, but the steering wheel does not gain heft. So that's a bit of a concern, but I think like the price point, again, it's trying to trade its services too. I think most car buyers really don't focus on that aspect much. So overall, I think handling wise, it will do what you ask from it, but to a certain level. You can't push it to its limit. And there's where the the downside of Kiger kicks in. But on the flip side, what really helps this car is its brilliant road clearance. Yes, the ground clearance is over 200 millimeters, and that's one of the largest in the segments. We tried to take the car slightly off-road, and I think we were pretty happy with how it went over patchy, bad roads, broken roads. It was with a lot of comfort, and the 16-inch wheels, I think with them you get quite healthy tires. That is partially a reason why you feel more confident over bad and broken roads, and there's where Kiger gains an extra edge over the rivals. Yes, handling wise you may lose a few points, but I think you can take the Kiger to multiple places where other cars cannot. The suspension tuning is a bit too firm and a bit too squishy to my liking. For example, if you hit a bumper, a roadblock or a pothole at moderately good speed, now you can feel that thud creeping into the cabin. That should have been quite easily negated, but that's how things are with the Kiger. You feel that discomfort inside the cabin quite often, quite regularly, and what really dampens the deal is the noise. There is NVH level, but you come across something unwanted on road, and that also reflects inside the cabin. So overall, I would not rate it very high in terms of a quite comfortable cabin, but there are other aspects where this car outshines rivals. The performance of the engine and transmission is pretty average, nothing to write home about. But Renault expects a lot of volume out of the Kiger, and quite rightly. It's a very practical car. It will suit your family if you are having a big one. Also, it gets features if you really want to pay for them. And what really works in favor of this car is its competitive pricing. Starts somewhere around 5.5 lakh ex-showroom, goes all the way to 9.5 lakh ex-showroom, and that's one of the most cheapest ones that you can buy currently in the market. Now, nobody can stop this car from being a bestseller. Probably if India plans to go all electric overnight, well, highly unlikely. That's all we have for you from the first drive review of Renault Kiger. Do let us know what do you think about this car in the comment section below.